Darling, you send me. I know you send me. Darling, you send me. I know you send me. Darling, you send me. I know you send me.
So this week we're back on technology. I know last week we had a little bit of allergy fiasco, but the headphones are back. And luckily in the last video around the ATHs, someone suggested these headphones. So these are supposedly supposed to sound a little bit better, and they are by Sony, so they should have a little bit different signature than what you'd get out of the ATH. I mean, in reality, you'd probably get most anything would be better than that headphone because it's just so bad. But anyway, these are the Sony MDR-XB650BT. Yeah, let me check really fast. Yeah, I got it right. Woo! So yeah, these are those headphones. But the reason why I wanted to pick these up is because the last comment I said in my last video is like it was really wanted to explore this under $100 mark for Bluetooth headphones, just because I have yet to find one that really fits the bill. I mean, these look much better already, so we'll have to see how they perform. The Sony MDR-XB650BTs are a lightweight headphone. They sit around just above 6.5 ounces and are a closed-back design headphone that are on ear. These headphones pretty much stay pretty light on your head. You don't have to worry about having to readjust them or any sort of neck fatigue due to them. Something that you'd expect from a headphone this small and this cheap. The ear pads on these headphones are nothing special. They are what you'd expect from a $70 headphone. They are just that cheap fake plastic that just give you a little bit of plushness on your ears. They are nice and puffy, but they do take a little bit of time to break in. Out of the box, they can be a little bit hard, but over a week or so, they do break in and become more comfortable and shapely. They are a generic circle pattern, however, they are larger than the ATHs. So this might be the reason why these fit on the ears a little bit better, as well as they might isolate sound more efficiently or more effectively than the ATHs did. The nice thing about these ear pads too are they are a little bit more in place. So the other thing that I hated about the ATHs were that the ear cups would move around a lot and my headband would swivel down as a result. That was a terrible, terrible design, but these ones are actually placed in. They are removable still, so if they do get damaged and you want to replace them, you can do that. However, they just are placed and set more in a stable area so that the headband doesn't move around, and I do appreciate that. In terms of controls, they reside on the right ear cup. So you have your track up, track back, pause, initiate a call, volume button, power, microphone, and your power and sync buttons. The controls on this headphone are much like the ATH S150BTs. They do have a flicking switch which lets you advance or go back a track, as well as it's pressable to allow for phone use as well as pause track. In terms of the microphone, it does pick up really well in terms of sound, so I did not really have any issues while having a conversation, and I was able to maintain a pretty clear sound on the other end as well. In terms of Bluetooth pairing, this thing had no issues whatsoever. I did like that it was a pretty simple hard press to get a connection, and most any phone could find it. I tried this on a bunch of different phones, and everyone was able to find it really quickly. It also does remember the last device that it was connected to, so if that device is on, it'll instant pair to it, which I like. This is a feature that the ATH didn't have, and I constantly had to find it. This one it'll remember. The other nice thing about this is you can pair it using NFC, which makes the pairing process even easier. The Bluetooth connectivity on these headphones were extremely solid. They didn't really have any issues with drops or lag. So when you're watching a video, there's no latency at all. And when I was on a call or listening to my music, there was no drops or gaps in the playback. So that was also very much appreciated because it was a headphone I really didn't have to worry about. In terms of battery life, they will last you around 30 hours according to the specifications, and I found that pretty much held up. I wore these a little bit more than I did the ATHs throughout the week without having to charge them, and they did make an entire work week and even into the weekend without having to recharge. One of the things that was really surprising on this was it just did not have a standard audio jack. So if these things ever die on you, you have to wait for them to charge. There is no analog way to use these headphones when they're dead. So they don't have any sort of passive feature that will enable that. So once these are dead, these are basically useless to you. I thought that was a bummer because that's pretty much a standard feature on most headphones, regardless of price range. So the sound of these were a little bit weird out of the box, so I had to listen to these longer than I wanted to because I needed to make sure that it wasn't just my unit or it wasn't just because of break-in time. When I first got these out of the box, they were extremely V-shaped, so they hurt. Again, V-shape's not terrible, but in these headphones, they were extremely bass heavy. I mean, extra bass. However, they just washed out everything. So we were listening to a bunch of different genres, and I was just getting really annoyed at how strong the bass was. I could not hear any sort of trebles or mids very clearly, and it just made everything really muddy. Even the bass itself was not very controlled in its own right, so I didn't know how to handle the sound at that point. So I tried to run it through the paces of different genres, different sets of music, different paces, different production volumes, just to make sure that it wasn't just that isolated song. But it didn't really get any better. It took me about a week. I'm just struggling through it for it to lighten up a bit and for things to become a little bit more mellow. However, I'm going to say that the sound itself is so bass heavy that it doesn't really get you anything. Like it's not really going to help you hear anything really defined, and it's not really pleasurable. It's actually kind of blurry. The extra bass is nice, and that might be the reason why these things isolate much better than the ATHs, but it just wasn't my sort of sound signature. I like neutrals more just so I can hear the different instruments. But I mean, if you're a bass head, maybe these are okay. But even in that instance, like if you really are a bass head, like just pick up a pair of skull candies or something like that. Like these things do have bass and it's very strong, but they don't thump in a nice way. They thump kind of like they're stabbing you. Like bass is not supposed to feel like this. Like nice bass, you feel in your chest, you feel it all over, and you want to groove to that song. You want to groove to your music. You don't want to feel like you're getting stabbed in the chest. You just want to feel like there's a nice beating in your chest. These feel like they're stabbing you in your ears and kind of stabbing you in your soul with that bass because it's just so harsh. It just hits you right in the ear. And again, they're not any sort of luxury bass. It's just there. It's just there to hit hard, but not in any sort of sophisticated manner. So I don't know, like they did mellow out over time and I was able to survive through them, but that might have just me acclimating to punishment. Like overall, I would say that the sound signature is too V-shaped, and it's weird. It's almost like a check mark. Because I wouldn't say that there's all that much treble, and the mids are basically all gone. So it's like a Verizon checkbox. It's like treble, no mids, and then all bass. So I don't know how you describe that shape of audio signature, but that's what these are. The Sony XB650BTs are an interesting headphone. They're extremely nice looking, and I will admit that they do sort of warm up over time. So you get to hear the treble a little bit more the more you break them in, as well as the comfort level and everything else around it also break in and become more usable. I mean, these are really good if you like bass and you just need something lightweight and cheap. However, this is not something I can recommend, so this doesn't really fit into what I've been looking for even a $70 headphone. Again, I feel like this is too much money for what you're spending, and it's something you're gonna grow out of really fast. And I wouldn't want you guys to waste your money on this, because literally just save up $30 more and find a better set of headphones, because these are not worth it. And these will, I guarantee if you buy these will probably be in the trash, or you're gonna give it to someone else in a couple months. these are better than the ATHs, but not by much. Well, probably mostly likely because they're pretty. But anyway, thank you guys for sticking around again. I appreciate all the comments and all the views that you've been giving me recently. It's been awesome. And again, if you want a certain headphone or something particular, put them in the comments. I generally get around to them. It might take me a little bit of time. There have been more coming in, so I'm also liking that. But yeah, put your comments in there and any requests that you'd like. Also, like, comment, subscribe. Normal things you do on a video that you like. And I'll see you in the next one. As always, appreciate ya. Till next time.